Top 10 Saddest Demon Slayer Unnoticed Facts that will make you cry. There are plenty of hidden details and unnoticed facts in the Demon Slayer storyline that may shock, amuse, or even devastate you. But in this video, we're going to focus on the ones that will genuinely make you feel sad. Yeah, you might need a box of tissues for some of these. Spoilers ahead for non-manga readers. Inosuke is a simple creature. Even his crow mostly stays hidden because he almost ate his crow on 18 different instances. But it's also this simplicity that is the most beautiful thing about him. He doesn't care about remembering your name, and he usually only gets your name right every 7th time. But did you know that by the events of the Infinity Castle arc, Inosuke starts calling the people closest to him by their real names? We're talking about Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Shinobu, Nezuko, and Kanao. Shinobu was killed by the same demon who ate his mother. Tanjiro and Zenitsu are both his best buddies who have come face death with him many times. Nezuko is like the sister he never had, and Kanao is the fellow demon slayer who killed Doma together with him. For Inosuke to remember your name, you will have to be a completely irreplaceable part of his life. By the way, just a little Easter egg for you. Inosuke ends up with Aoi, and the two of them go on to start a family. The name of one of their great-grandsons is Aoba. The bittersweet reason Rengoku always says, "Umai!" Rengoku is by far the best representation of the Hashira spirit, but as you may have noticed, he can be a little loud and too expressive sometimes. The reason he is usually so loud is because he once ruptured his eardrums to fight a demon whose powers made use of a flute. And the reason why he always says umai, or delicious, is because of the samurai tradition. It means to have a constant awareness and preparation for one's death. This is why he savors every bite, as it may very well be his last. Sadly, that's what happens in the Mugen Train arc. It was his last meal. He died like a true samurai and lived a wonderful life till the end. Zenitsu's past is sad, but not like the usual Demon Slayer sad. It's sad in the romantic sense. You see, Zenitsu had 7 girlfriends before he met Nezuko. None of them treated him like a partner or even a human being. They used him as a slave, robbed him of his money, and became the primary cause of his downfall. Zenitsu ended up with 600,000 yen worth of debt. That's something like $5,000. They would also talk trash about him and make brutal remarks behind his back. So much so that Zenitsu genuinely couldn't believe that an actual kind and compassionate woman exists. He was so delighted after realizing that Nezuko is truly kind that he almost ascended to heaven. Giyu is by far the most reserved character in the story. He is silent, stoic, but also insecure. Remember Sabito and Makomo, who helped Tanjiro with his training before the final selection? They were ghosts. And as the manga went on to reveal, Sabito was Giyu's best friend, who died while protecting him and everyone else in the final selection. For the longest time, Giyu felt sad and undeserving. He thought that his own death would be a good thing. But when Tanjiro asks him about it all, he places his hand on his left cheek and remembers that this is where Sabito once slapped him and told him to cherish his own life. Well, this exact spot is also where the Demon Slayer mark emerges during the fight with Akaza. Now, I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists who talk about how Shinobu actually had a thing for Giyu, but this one is true. Giyu was the only Hashira who was left completely stunned at the announcement of her death. This is because he didn't know about her suicide plan. The other Hashiras knew. Mitsuri even commented about it, but Giyu didn't. Yes, she would always tease him and everything, but it's also true that they had a genuine friendship with each other. Shinobu couldn't bring herself to tell him, and Giyu couldn't believe that she was dead. He recalled her smiling face the very instant the crow announced her death. It looks like the next one is about Giyu as well. Well, he is the most reserved character after all. One thing you must have noticed about Giyu is that he was never on friendly terms with Sanemi. This is because Sanemi doesn't like how Giyu acts like he is different from everyone else, even though the reason he acts this way is very simple. Giyu believed he was not worthy of standing next to the Hashiras. In his mind, it should have been his friend Sabito, not him. This is also why he got upset at Tanjiro for not sticking with water breathing. He wanted Tanjiro to be the water pillar instead. However, after all is said and done, Giyu and Sanemi finally look at each other and smile. This was during the final pillar meeting. Giyu and Sanemi are the only ones still alive. At the end of the manga, they even enjoy a meal together. Just them two. Yoriichi and Michikatsu's backstory is perhaps the most intriguing backstory in all of Demon Slayer. Both of them were born in a privileged family, but Michikatsu just couldn't contain his jealousy. He envied him because Yoriichi was indeed a prodigy, the one that was blessed by the gods. However, be that as it may, even though Kokushibo couldn't remember his own wife and child as a demon, he still had the flute he made and gifted to Yoriichi. Even after over 4 centuries, he was still carrying that flute with him at all times. As much as he hated Yoriichi, he also loved him. This is also shown in the panel where he cried after realizing that he made the wrong choice. He has 6 eyes, but he only cries out of 3 of them, implying that while half of him hated Yoriichi, half of him truly loved him. What if Michikatsu had chosen to be the moon to his brother's sun breathing? What if instead of signing a deal with the devil, he stayed by his brother? As kids, all Yoriichi wanted to do was to stay by his brother's side and fly a kite together. As the story goes, Inosuke was raised by the boars, so how did he learn to talk? We learned about Inosuke's backstory during his fight with Doma, how his mother ran away with him from her abusive husband, how they were accepted by Doma, but when she realized he is a demon, she tried to run away. During this, Doma killed her, but she made sure to throw Inosuke in a river with his name written on him. He was then found and raised by the boars, but in chapter 71.5, which is an extra chapter, we see Inosuke chilling with an old man. This old man teaches Inosuke how to talk. Overall, it doesn't matter how simplistic Inosuke is, his backstory is tragic through and through, but his mother must be proud to see how much her son has grown. Demon Slayer has a lot of painful stories, but you'll have to agree that the story of Sanemi and Genya sometimes hits you the hardest. Their mother turned into a demon, killing all their siblings. Sanemi had to kill her to protect himself and Genya, but then Genya blamed her death on him. Tanjiro mentioned that although Sanemi always seemed like he hated Genya, he could never smell an ounce of hatred on him. Instead, he says to Genya, he's always loved you. Their relationship remains broken till the end. Genya apologizes to his brother moments before his death. Sanemi just completely breaks down. He starts begging God to please not take his brother away from him. Well, then in chapter 200, we see something just as brutal. Muzan has been killed, but the Hashiras are dying one by one. Sanemi was also going to die. He sees Genya and his siblings chilling with each other in a beautiful place, but their mother isn't there. He asks her why she isn't going there, and she replies that she can't, because she killed her own children. This causes Sanemi to just smile and reply that he will go with her. Yes, guys, he told his mother that he will go with her to hell. He was going to carry his mother to hell. Then suddenly, his abusive father shows up and pushes him away. He tells him that she will be going with him instead. Sanemi regains his consciousness and comes back to life, but it truly puts into perspective how sad and tragic his story has been. What is it that Muzan spent 1,000 years searching? It's the blue spider lily. He spent 1,000 years searching for it, both himself and through his demons, but never, not once, was he able to find it. But did you know that in the second official fan book, it was revealed that blue spider lilies started growing on Uta's grave? She was Yoriichi's wife who was killed just before she could give birth to their child. Another thing I'd mention is how Tanjiro's mother actually showed those flowers to him when he was little. This can be seen in chapter 39, when he recalls memories of his family. He also recalls those flowers.